continue. Um, Water. Hydrate. Okay, continuing with that idea of center periphery. Why are centers where it's at? Why do we look for, as in the case of this book's cities first 6,000 years, we look also for the fragility of cities. We look for its vulnerability, and I contend there's a pleasure worldwide at when a city takes a knock. Disasters, weather, terrorist attacks, overcrowding, garbage strikes, blackouts. Are these resilient cities? They certainly are resilient cities, but even a city, and it provided this into your files on viewing the public life of cities, the entertainment, the clubs, the way that we're looking for cosmopolitan ideas, desirous ideas, the idea for diversity, the interest in a cosmopolitan sense of hanging out together. I've lived in various cities, Tokyo, Seoul, Singapore for over a year and a half, usually on each city. I repeatedly go back to Seoul. I lived in Rome, a very, in a sense, not so cosmopolitan sense that it embraces these ideals of a global city like New York, in which diversity, not just with a capital D, diversity as a practical application of Epicureanism, fun, interesting, good food, interesting, educated people of different ethnicities and races. These are an idea of diversity with a lowercase d, practical d, not just reading it in a book somewhere, or thinking, oh, we need that. Do it, engage in it. So Rome is not quite a cosmopolitan city. People of color often have a hard time. They're often immigrants moving through Rome. There's not that acceptance of, there's a request to be assimilated. And here in New York City, it's rough, but there's a general request to retain some of your identity within a very, a misto, a salad of the city. Okay, Central Hub Satellite Network Linear Segment. We talked about Commodus, the emperor, whose father, Marcus Aurelius, was the great, not quite a conqueror, he was a philosopher. I read the Meditations. Wonderful books on Stoicism, what it means to maintain these oppressive boundaries, what creating envy in the people outside of the boundaries, such as the Germans, to make them feel they would like the roads, the infrastructure, the order, the grid patterns, but not the taxes. Certainly they did this with ancient Palestine, or the Levant, all those various colonies in the Levant. There were rebellions in Greece, certainly in Germany on the border of the Danube. They stopped at the Danube. Hermann is the great janissary or captured noble of the German tribe who rebels in the moment of, famously cataloged, and Germans did a miniseries about him, his legacy of late, where he rebelled and went over to the German side last minute, thus defeating the imperialistic Romans. Hadrian's Wall, very famous. They had to build a wall, make those savage people envious. Even in 347 BC, there were Celtic tribesmen who came down to Rome, beat it, sacked it, said, we'll be back, but did not have the infrastructure themselves to set up colonies, whereas the Romans did, by taxation, by their military, and so forth, later on in the Republic. But this is 347 years before the Republic. Is it off?